Welcome to Have I Got News For You? I'm Anna Maxwell Martin. In the news this week, in Gloucester, there are fears that one woman may have seen quite enough Jubilee merchandise for one day. After an embarrassing moment in a lift, two people write down their own version of events. And as filming begins on David Attenborough's first Netflix drama, one of the stars works hard to get into shape. On Ian's team tonight is an actor and comedian who claims he makes a fairly decent spaghetti bolognese, although that's not the only reason he's been invited on tonight. Please welcome Chris McCausland. And on Paul's team tonight is a journalist who recently said leaving the BBC for Channel 4 was the best decision she's ever made. Well, look who's come crawling back. Please welcome Steph McGovern. And we begin with the bigger news stories of the week. Ian and Chris, here's yours.
You talk us through this, Ian.
There's a small boy with a Union Jack, shortly to be known as just a Jack. Here's a royal car with some splendid side mirrors. That's two people comparing notes. Fancy a curry? I don't know. That's Prince Charles standing in, and then Prince Charles, obviously, the only person sitting down without a crown. Oh, there's Prince Charles playing chess, and the Queen moves at all.
I noticed he was holding a pint of beer in that last game. He was holding a pint of beer last week. Do you think he's been carrying this pint of beer for 7 years?
Asking someone to tell him what it is.
Yeah. I've been carrying around this pint of beer for 4 years.
This is the state opening of Parliament. He turned up because the Queen's got episodic mobility issues, familiar to many of us after a few.
After a few years.
Anyway, she can't make it, so Prince Charles got his big moment. But it wasn't a big moment because we had to recognise that the Queen's still there. So they had a crown on a chair. Okay. Even I was thinking, we're watching a hat on a seat. I quite like flummery, but I just thought this is quite silly. And then someone said it's a bit like the tub of lard on this show.
Do you know how the older somebody gets, the more they shrink? Do you think the Queen was actually under the crown?
Yeah.
It's quite Hogwarts, too, isn't it? It's the sorting hat. Who will be the next king? Probably not you.
It was a speech, wasn't it, about in the middle of a cost of living crisis that didn't mention anything about helping people afford to live or eat. The speech was given by a man sat on a throne next to a golden hat that cost more than Chelsea Football Club. And on behalf of a government that's run by a man who spent 200 grand kind of decorating his flat and another bloke who's married to a billionaire. So it's...
So what's your point, Chris? I just like the fact that Prince Charles now has to take on the Queen's role, which is basically reading out a series of ridiculous bills that you don't believe a word of, and taking them seriously.
Did you like the way that they closed all the roads to announce a law to stop people disrupting traffic?
The BBC did a whole item about the 5 differences this time. Obviously, one being it was Prince Charles and not the Queen, but it was things like they travelled by a car for the first time and not a horse-drawn cart. And, you know, black
Horse-drawn cart?
Yeah.
That's a bit down market for the Queen, isn't it? Was she picking up scrap metal on the way?
What do you call it?
How much do you want for that washstand?
Well, what other privileges did the crown have? Oh. It had a little
mouse called Gerald who played the mouse.
It had its own car.
It had its own car. Well, what else arrived in the car?
Is this the 2 Maces?
Yes.
Is that in case Prince Andrew turns up and tries to touch any women? They use the ceremonial mace.
sent out to the TV news studios to argue that the government was cooking up plans to help with the cost of living crisis.
Oh, this isn't Michael Gove, is it?
Did any of you see the interview?
Yeah.
Should we see it now?
Yeah,
Yes.
We are constantly looking at ideas in order to ensure that we relieve the pressure on people who are facing incredibly tough times. But that doesn't amount to an emergency budget, which is what some people immediately thought that it did. It is an example of some commentators chasing their own tails and trying to take a statement that is commonsensical, turning it into a major capital letters, a big news story, and in fact, when the Treasury quite rightly say, calm down.
It's good. It's pretty good. I mean, I'm an actor. I know a lot about accents. They're pretty good.
A Lib Dem called Tim Farron, who said straight after that, he said, whatever Michael Gove had for breakfast, the Lib Dems want to legalise it.
How did Boris Johnson and Keir Starmer get on at the state opening, do you think?
I think Boris said something about, did you have a good weekend? Referring to the fact that Keir Starmer's been referred back to the police.
Yes.
But unfortunately, Boris had not a very good start to the week with 50 more fines.
Yeah.
So now the government are winning 100-0.
Yeah.
According to the Mail, they seem to be having a right laugh. How was your weekend? Boris asked Starmer, his face curling into a smirk like Quasimodo. Quasimodo was famous for his smirk, something else maybe, but anyway. And if you pan down the page, the Mail did make another interesting observation. Angela Rayner there. 11:30, she's wearing a trouser suit for the Queen's speech, and at 2:30, she's in a short skirt on the bench opposite Boris Johnson.
I wouldn't call that short.
Is it above the knee, Steph?
Yeah, but I'm from Middlesbrough, but that's not short, love.
On a good night, you can see all the way to the town hall, can't you?
That's modest, that.
Keir Starmer has issued a challenge. He will resign if he's fined over Currygate. Here he is, making the grand statement in a big set-piece press conference.
He must be fairly confident that he's not going to be issued with a fine, because he said, I'll resign. And the Prime Minister, when confronted with the possibility of a fine, said, I wasn't there, I didn't do it, I have no memory, there'll be an inquiry, we'll get the police to look later. Look at the two different approaches. I'm just saying.
My problem with the parties wasn't really the parties, it's just that no one ever explained what the party games were. They just... there was wine, there was cheese, there was party games, and I just... What do they play? A Conservative Christmas party, apart from avoid Matt Hancock at the mistletoe.
It's definitely pin the tail on the donkey.
Yeah.
Or pass the parcel, but every time it lands on you, you have to add another layer of wrapping because the truth should never get out.
No, it's pin the blame on the public.
Countdown.
Labour's Lisa Nandy doesn't think Keir Starmer will be fined. She can't imagine he did anything wrong. Why?
He's missed the rules, apparently, but he's more boring than that, isn't he? He's really missed the terms and conditions.
She did tell The Independent, Keir is not a rule breaker, he is Mr. Rules.
He's one of the less successful superheroes.
The thing is I think as the British...
Within the party are not so awed by Keir Starmer. Did you see what one special advisor said about the evening at the Durham Miners' Hall?
No.
No.
He said, I just don't want to get fined for having a curry with Keir Starmer. It was already a bad Friday night. The curry was bad and the chat was worse. Back to Parliament. What's reared its ugly head?
Oh, God, really?
It's Brexit, or a no-deal Brexit, to be precise.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's a complex issue involving Northern Irish politics, world trade and EU diplomacy. So, Ian, can you explain what's going on?
Good luck.
It's not very complex, actually. Boris Johnson said that he would get Brexit done and he would do a deal. He did a deal, including the Northern Ireland Protocol. It's his deal, he did it. He's just turned around and said, this deal's rubbish. Who negotiated this? This is appalling. We must rip it up and not obey international law. which is consistent because he doesn't obey domestic law, so why would he obey international law? So essentially he's decided that he is going to not comply with any of this. He's going to rip up the treaty, and despite the fact that the majority in Northern Ireland has just won, who are pro the protocol, Sinn Féin have just won, he is going to scrap this.
Oh, when will it ever end, Ian? It's 2022.
Yeah.
It's like one of them 80s horror franchises that just keeps on coming back, but each time it's more boring.
Yep.
Oh, you thought Brexit was boring. Well, this time it's Brexit with fishing quotas. No!
Sinn Féin were the biggest winners on local election night, as Ian said, but they can be a bit boring, these local elections, although this is how the electronic programme guide described the BBC's plans for the evening. Hugh Edwards introduces election results from around the UK with anal. It certainly woke up Neil Parish.
It's clearly analysis and it's just fallen off.
Wasn't this in Private Eye?
Yeah.
The Northern Ireland situation is complex, scary, and makes people feel uncomfortable, so instead, would you like to see a funny clip of a runaway wheelchair?
Yes.
The EU might be looking at this and thinking, what else can they come up with to solve the protocol issue?
This is the Queen's speech outlining Boris Johnson's plans for the next couple of years. Keir Starmer says that if fined over Beergate, he will resign. So either he survives and has the moral high ground, or he quits and the party gets a fresh injection of leadership. According to one source, it's a win-win situation for Labour. But I'm sure they'll find a way to fuck it up. Paul and Steph, take a look at this.
Vardy, another great English footballer.
Yeah, sort of whispering going on and people being rather astonished.
Yeah.
Have you been following this?
Yeah. So Colleen Rooney,
Yeah.
who was mates with Rebecca Vardy,
Yeah.
was suspicious about a lot of stories coming out about her. So she set a trap to find out who it was. And so she used her Instagram, set up 3 fake stories on there, and only Rebecca Vardy's account could see them. And she went to see whether they would end up in the papers. They did, and then she put out this statement where she said Rebecca Vardy's account was the one that had put these out.
And the Sun must have been embarrassed to find out that something in it wasn't true.
Yeah. And then Rebecca Vardy kicked off about it. She's now suing Colleen for libel, basically.
It's your view, impartially, obviously, so far, that Rebecca Vardy clearly did leak the lot.
Obviously, I will not give a view on that because I don't want to myself end up being sued for libel. So,
Damn, I failed.
No, it's a good ploy because you could be called into this case and you could have a front row seat watching what happens.
Oh my God, that's a really good point. But the thing is, could
I reckon
you imagine?
she did it.
Could you imagine though if all your WhatsApps for the last 5 years were being read out in court?
Are they very rude about each other?
Yeah, but there's some crackers, right? So one of them involves, how did it go? So Vardy said arguing with Rudy would be like arguing with a pigeon. You can tell it it's right and you're wrong, but it will still shit in your hair.
But isn't that lucky?
Yeah, lucky for the pigeon, he's found somewhere to have a shit. Husband, Wayne Rooney.
Who was sat the whole way through, just not looking at anyone, just staring into space, which is fascinating in itself. And now everyone realised he sleeps with his eyes open.
Maybe he's confused by the fact that this is the first time he's been in court without being the accused.
Here they are.
Yeah.
And here they are as drawn by the court article.
I'm guessing they're not very good representations.
No.
I would say, actually, Wayne's is quite accurate.
Just looks like a potato.
There's a potato. No net. The Times asked the all-important question, who's winning on style? Let's have a look at what they were wearing. Rebecca Vardy wore a £900 designer blue dress, Chris.
OK, lovely.
She has a white pump on, a big blue bag, a belt and some shades, and a man attached to her. Wayne Rooney wore a Big Mac. And here's the BBC 6 o'clock news on Tuesday.
Colleen Rooney arrived in court wearing a surgical boot, shades of her husband Wayne Rooney's metatarsal injury before the 2006 World Cup.
I must have been in court 13 about 10 times fighting libel actions, and at no point did anyone say, he's arriving wearing a grey suit.
Finally, in other celebrity news, actor Dennis Waterman died this week. How did Secretary of State for Education Nadeem Sohawi pay his respects?
He thought it was the other Waterman.
Pete Waterman.
Oh, no.
Oh.
He did.
He did say R.I.P. Pete, in fact.
Oh.
A great actor, grew up watching Minder, which prompted another Twitter user to recall sports presenter Alan Brazil's words on the passing of one of Waterman's co-stars. I was sad to hear about the death of Inspector Morse, TV's John Shaw. And when reminded it was in fact John Thaw, said, do you know, I've been doing that all morning. If you're listening, John, sorry, mate. This is the landmark court case Rooney versus Vardy. The Mail explained the wife of former England star Wayne Rooney has been dubbed Wagatha Christie. Wayne loves the nickname and he's still hoping that one day she might dress up as Miss Marple for him. According to The Guardian, the trial was temporarily halted after being cut short by a fire alarm before the caretaker came to sort it out. So we move on to round two, the ear trumpet of news. You are going to hear some audio clues to help you guess what the story is. Fingers on buzzers, here it comes.
That's cheddar. That's cheddar. That's cheddar.
I think I know this. Somebody developed like a Shazam of cheese, didn't they? And it's an app on the phone and you take photographs of it and it tells you what cheese you're looking at. I think it might be for people who've lost the packet.
It's called Shazam. Oh. And how does it work?
You take a photograph of the piece of cheese, you send it to an address in Lincoln, a man comes round your house, hits you with a fork and says, that's cheddar, and he pisses off.
Why would you need that, though? Because when you buy it, you don't buy it not knowing what it is, do you?
I think it's for just cheese that you find.
Sticking with cheese, shall we?
No. I know that was a rhetorical question, but I gave you a rhetorical answer.
A company that makes bar snacks is advertising a job as a cheese taster for £30,000 a year, plus all the cheese you could eat. A Scarborough-based company is advertising the job, but only to people called Gary.
Why?
That's what it says. Why do they only want Gary, do you think? Well, who's the most famous Gary?
Gary Lineker.
Yay!
Is he?
Well, I don't know if he's the most famous one. He's the first one that springs to mind.
Yeah, apart from glitter, obviously.
Well, it looks like your side's not going to be in this programme much. Dear Points of View, why did Paul Merton and Steph McGovern play nobody in last
In other news, Ukraine are hotly tipped to win tomorrow's Eurovision Song Contest with their entry performed by the Galush Orchestra. Shall we take a little look at one of the other entries? Here's Norway's entry.
That could well be a hit.
Is that Wolf for Banana?
Yeah. It's sort of strange enough.
I can't believe that Russia's punishment is that they don't get to watch this. They should be the only ones made to watch
This is the French app that identifies what cheese is in front of you. There's also a new dating app for cheese enthusiasts who'd like to get together. Grater, or for hard cheese enthusiasts, Rinder. Amongst other things, the app will identify the cheese by its shape. I mean, I can do that. If it's a triangle, it's Dairy Lee. If it's round, it's a Baby Bell. Fingers on buzzers, teams. Here's another one for you. Buzz when you know what it is.
Oh, it's Shostakovich.
Symphony No. 4, third movement.
Yep, definitely.
somebody on some steps and then like a little...
Someone turning on a computer.
No, it's actually a washing machine.
Oh, yeah. Apparently in this country we're looked at weirdly by other countries because we have the washing machine in the kitchen and other people have it, like, next to the bed and stuff. Yeah, there was a thing in the news this week, somebody saying that they put their washing machine upstairs and it's changed their life.
Well, you put it on spin cycle and... It can do half the job for you.
Who feels vindicated by this advice?
So, hang on, this... We've now been invited to identify the sound of a washing machine.
Yeah.
And you're saying that somebody said before that washing machine shouldn't be in the kitchen, and you're asking us who that is.
Yeah, Paul, I can't help but feel that even I'd be better if it was pictures, mate.
Yeah.
I'm going to put you out of your misery, Paul. It was Kirsty Allsop. 5 years ago, she said, keeping washing machines in kitchens was disgusting. And this weekend, she finally found some support in an article in the Sunday Times by Bianca Hall, who said that moving her washing machine upstairs, correct, Chris, was life-changing.
Yeah.
This is news, is it?
Yeah.
A 5-year-old Kirsty Allsop. Stop.
Is Ian having a stroke?
If he is the only one having a good time.
This is the news that Kirsty Allsop has finally been vindicated after 5 years over where to keep your washing machine. According to The Independent, critics were quick to criticise Kirsty Allsop. That's Allsop with 2 L's, 2 P's, 2 en-suites and a utility room. Time now for the missing words round. And we start with angry badger looking for what in the West Midlands?
Similar.
Looking for bodger?
Affordable housing after natural habitat destroyed by HS2.
Angry badger looking for a fight in the West Midlands. People in Cannock Chase in the West Midlands have been warned to be on the lookout for an aggressive badger. You could tell he'd been in a lot of fights because he already had 2 black eyes. Next. What hiding in hedge turns out to be what?
Pigeon hiding in hedge turns out to be Colleen Rooney.
Man asking for money hiding in hedge turns out to be hedge fund manager.
This is Puma hiding in hedge turns out to be bin bag. It's one of those stories. Or bin bag hiding in hedge turns out to be Puma. Or lion hiding in hedge turns out to be out of sorts Methodist preacher. But I'm going for bin bag Puma.
Paul is correct. Lion. You're right.
Am I?
Yes. Lion hiding in hedge turns out to be a carrier bag.
Oh.
Alarm was raised in Kenya recently after a farmhand spotted this lurking in a hedge.
Oh.
No, it turns out to be a plastic bag, guys. The bag was removed from the garden and released back into the wild where it belongs, stuck high up in a tree. Next. Pembrokeshire locals celebrate World Naked Gardening Day by what?
Pruning their bushes. Seed in the flower bed.
They're not attending to their plums, isn't it?
Yeah. Shaping their hollyhocks.
Pembrokeshire locals celebrate World Naked Gardening Day by getting naked at garden centre.
Oh.
The second World Naked Gardening Day was held this week and locals in Pembrokeshire really got stuck into the spirit of things. Do you want to see some pictures, guys?
This isn't the House of Commons.
All right, go on then.
Well, for you, Chris, this is a naked man sitting on a bag of compost while a dog watches on.
I'd have to say that's the most embarrassed-looking dog I've ever seen in my life.
The next one for your delights. Chris, this is a naked man with a duck covering his genitals.
A stuffed duck.
Yeah, we'll just make it clear that the duck is not covering its own genitals.
And he's not stuffing the duck.
Yeah.
So, the final scores are Ian and Chris have 3, Paul and Steph have 6. But before we go, there's just time for the caption competition. Ian and Chris have this.
That actually is the Prime Minister. I can tell from his rear.
Is he?
And he appears to be looking into Chris is like a giant laundrette.
Boris Johnson moves his washing machine up to the bedroom.
Paul and Steph, get this.
Jacob Rees-Mogg, obviously there, he's saying, I've just committed the perfect murder by strangulation and the police will never find the gloves I used.
Or the police saying, time to ram these gloves down that posh twat's throat.
Well, there's a difference between BBC One and Channel 4, isn't there?
And I leave you with news that one disgruntled Next Directory shopper waits to give customer services an earful for sending him a lady's cardigan by mistake. Disaster strikes during preparation for the Jubilee after a mix-up with the timing of the archery display and the corgi procession. And the legal teams in the Wagatha Christie case reflect upon the broken friendship, the waste of time and the needless squandering of expense. Paul is correct. Lion. You're right.
Am I?
Yes, lion hiding in hedge turns out to be a carrier bag.
Oh.
Alarm was raised in Kenya recently after a farmhand spotted this lurking in a hedge.
Oh.
No, it turns out to be a plastic bag, guys. The bag was removed from the garden and released back into the wild where it belongs, stuck high up in a tree. Next. Pembrokeshire locals celebrate World Naked Gardening Day by what?
Pruning their bushes. Seeding the flower bed.
They're not attending to their plums, isn't it?
Yeah. Shaping their hollyhocks.
Pembrokeshire locals celebrate World Naked Gardening Day by getting naked at Garden Centre.
Oh.
The second World Naked Gardening Day was held this week and locals in Pembrokeshire really got stuck into the spirit of things. Do you want to see some pictures, guys?
This isn't the House of Commons.
All right, go on then.
Well, for you, Chris, this is a naked man sitting on a bag of compost while a dog watches on.
I'd have to say that's the most embarrassed-looking dog I've ever seen in my life.
The next one for your delights. Chris, this is a naked man with a duck covering his genitals.
A stuffed duck.
Yeah, we'll just make it clear that the duck is not covering its own genitals.
And he's not stuffing the duck.
Yeah.
So, the final scores are Ian and Chris have 3, Paul and Steph have 6. But before we go, there's just time for the caption competition. Ian and Chris have this.
That actually is the Prime Minister. I can tell from his rear.
Is he?
And he appears to be looking into Chris is like a giant laundrette.
Boris Johnson moves his washing machine up to the bedroom.
Paul and Steph, get this.
Jacob Rees-Mogg, obviously there, he's saying, I've just committed the perfect murder by strangulation and the police will never find the gloves I used.
or the police saying, time to ram these gloves down that posh twat's throat.
Well, there's a difference between BBC One and Channel 4, isn't there?
And I leave you with news that one disgruntled Next Directory shopper waits to give customer services an earful for sending him a lady's cardigan by mistake. Disaster strikes during preparation for the Jubilee after a mix-up with the timing of the archery display and the corgi procession. And the legal teams in the Wagatha Christie case reflect upon the broken friendship, the waste of time and the needless squandering of expenses.